Example 7a.2. In each of the following, find the rule for the image of the graph of y equals f of x under the given translation. A. F of x is equal to 1 over x squared under a translation 4 units in the positive direction of the x-axis and 3 units in the positive direction of the y-axis. Now again, you could do this visually. So for example, that is the graph of the truncus. Now it has been moved 4 units in the positive direction of the x-axis. And there's the graph moved 4 units in the right direction. The asymptote, which would be on the y-axis of at x equals 0 for the original, and rather naughty me, I forgot to put it in. Let's put that in now. So the original graph of 1 over x squared would have an asymptote at x equals 0. Well, if I move it 4 units to the right, then what we've got here is we've got the asymptote at x equals 4, and so far the equation is going to look like 1 over x minus 4 all squared. And then it says 3 units in the positive direction of the y-axis. So what we have now done is we've moved the graph up. Of course, there was a horizontal asymptote, and rather naughty me, once again, not putting this in. I wouldn't have got full marks for that graph. Well, the original horizontal asymptote was at y equals 0, and it's been moved up to 3. And so there we get that green graph that I've just drawn on there. It's a little bit hard to see with all the other ones on there, but that is what the final equation should look like. Be x minus 4 all squared plus 3. However, we can also show this in a systematic way that we were doing with those coordinates. I've written the coordinates just like I did before with those points that I did in the previous example. A translation of 4 units in the positive x direction, I've written as x plus 4, and 3 units in the positive y direction, I've written as y plus 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a thing called a transformation statement, and you're going to see what I mean by that very shortly. The transformation statement is simply saying that the transformed x is equal to the original moved along by 4, plus 4. The transformed y is the original y, but moved up by 3. Now, what I'm going to do, you'll see I've got transformed and I've got original. My next thing is I'm going to rearrange both of these statements, both of these equations, if you like, to make the original pronumeral the subject. Because once I've done that, what I'm going to do is substitute that into the original equation. So I rearranged those statements to make the original, the one without the apostrophe, the subject, and I'm going to substitute it into the original equation. You'll notice there I've just said let f of x equals y so that we don't get confused and we know what we mean by substituting y in. Now it's time to substitute. So I've substituted those particular expressions in. You'll notice there that the truncus on the right part, that 1 over x transformed minus 4 all squared, is looking very similar to the red expression over here. So we've done that transform. We just need to move this 3 onto the other side and see what happens. And here we go. We have got the new transformed equation that we have predicted earlier. The last thing you need, you can just get rid of these pesky little apostrophes, and you've got your final answer. For the next examples, I'm simply going to use the method on the left to make my way through. B. f of x is equal to the square root of x under a translation of 2 units in the negative direction of the x-axis and 3 units in the negative direction of the y-axis. So starting with my x comma y forms x minus 2, y, in this case, y minus 3. There we go. Make my statements. And then we substitute. And there's my final equation. Example 7a.3. For y equals f of x equals x squared, sketch the graph for fx plus 3. This is even easier than before because all you need to do if you remember from your function notation, is whatever's inside these brackets, whatever's inside this f here, we just substitute. So this will become y equals x plus 3 squared. So it's the original x squared graph, y equals x squared, but simply moved over 3 to the left. So the only thing we need to go and write is the x and y intercepts. And we have drawn our graph.